With a starting price of £17,999, KTM new 1390 Super Duke R due in dealers from January 2024 is not a cheap bike, and the Evo version with semi-active suspension is even more of a hit to the wallet. At £19,599, the starting price still puts the R model well below rivals like Ducati Streetfighter V4. While the Evo is directly in competition with the BMW M 1000R, which comes in at £19,480, both those four-cylinder rivals offer around 20 horsepower more than the KTM, but for many customers the punch of a V-twin's low-down torque is something that a high-revving 4 can't compete with. If anything, the most compelling rival to the 1390 Super Duke R is its predecessor, which still lists at £1,000 less than the new bike, and offers nearly as much power and a little less weight. Getting another 11 horsepower from the KTM LC8 V twin engine for the 1390 Super Duke R wasn't straightforward. KTM quotes 190 horsepower, but with slightly wimpier European horses equivalent to 188 of the brawny imperial versions we tend to use here. Either way, the bike makes 140 kilowatts in metric measurements, and getting there required more than just another few cubic centimeters. So the company has also added a cam shifting system that swaps between two profiles, changing the amount of valve lift at different revs. Although the move from 1290 to 1390 suggests you're getting another 100cc, that's not quite true. The old engine actually measured in at 1301cc, and the new one is 1350cc, giving an increase of only 49cc. It's achieved by bumping up the bore from 108mm to 110mm while retaining the existing crankshaft's 71mm stroke, a much less extreme set of changes than those needed to transform the old 890 Duke to 2024 990 Duke, which essentially meant a complete engine redesign. The engine changes, and notably the cam shift system, mean the new engine is heavier than the old one, and since KTM has gone to some lengths to save kilos elsewhere on the bike, it's probably the main reason behind the 2 kilograms kerb weight increase over the 1290 Super Duke R. It's worth noting that KTM mentions several weight-saving measures in its press kit for the new bike, but at no point actually quotes its weight, so we're using the figure from the bike's type approval paperwork. Although the frame is carried over from the 1290 Super Duke R, it was a new design as recently as 2020, so isn't exactly outdated. The suspension has been revised and improved for the 1390 model. On the base R version, you get WP Apex 48mm upside down, open cartridge forks with adjustable compression, rebound and preload, while the rear uses an improved WP Apex shock with separate high and low speed compression damping adjustment, as well as all the other adjustability. The Evo model, as with the 1290 Super Duke R Evo, adds WP semi-active suspension in the form of 3rd generation Apex semi-active technology kit. Using magnetic valves, it provides variable damping and real-time adaptation to the road surface, and can be set to one of 5 modes: Auto, Comfort, Rain, Street, and Sport from the dash. If that's not enough, you can have the Suspension Pro option at extra cost, adding auto-adjusting preload and the ability to automatically adapt for different weight loads on the bike. It also adds an anti-dive function, stiffening the front end under hard braking, and for 2024 KTM has added a system inspired by MotoGP ride height control devices. Dubbed Factory Start, it automatically drops the rear preload and ride height when you come to a halt, putting more weight on the rear wheel and lowering the center of gravity to ensure the fastest possible getaway from the lights. Although the bones of the bike are carried over from the 1290 Super Duke R, the 1390 version gets revised bodywork, including a new fuel tank that's larger than its predecessor but redesigned to boost rider comfort and control. The tank carries an extra 1,500 cc of fuel, taking it to 17.5 liters in total, and is shaped to improve support during braking and when hanging off in corners. The new design also allows the bars to be mounted lower than before without compromising steering. Despite the fire-breathing engine, the claimed average fuel economy is impressive at 47.9 mpg, giving a tank range of around 185 miles. The Super Duke R and Evo both get a 5-inch TFT dash with a bonded glass screen, pretty much the norm these days, as well as a USB-C charging port. The graphics are new for the latest model, and more importantly, there's a redesigned menu system that's said to reduce the number of clicks needed to reach each of the bike's functions. Given the wide array of riding modes, Rain, Street and Sport are standard with performance and track settings as an optional extra, and the settings available on the Evo's semi-active suspension. That's more than welcome. Those riding modes are pretty self-explanatory, influencing throttle maps, power and the settings for the traction control system and wheelie control system. Rain mode cuts power to 130 horsepower and keeps the front end on the ground. Street lets the front wheel lift a bit and sets the throttle, power and traction control to their defaults. Sport sharpens the throttle and loosens the leash of the traction control, as well as letting you pull bigger wheelies. The optional performance and track settings allow customization and introduce launch control, with track taking it to even more focused level by allowing lap times or telemetry to be displayed on the TFT dash.